Before her trip with friends, my wife said, "Let's take a break from our marriage." Her voice was calm, but the words hit me like a blow. We had been married for 7 years, and while things weren't perfect, I never imagined she'd want space from me. I stood there frozen, trying to process if it was something I did, or something she was hiding. She explained it as a reset, saying she needed to find herself again. I wanted to believe her, to think it was harmless, just a momentary drift. I watched her pack her bags, her laughter returning as she texted her friends about the trip. The way she smiled at her phone that day felt foreign, distant, almost like she wasn't mine anymore. The first few days after she left were quiet. I told myself not to overthink, but every hour stretched into a lifetime. Her social media filled with pictures, sunsets, cocktails, beaches, and the same group of friends she always hung out with. But something stood out, a man in several photos, close beside her, his hand just a little too near. My stomach twisted each time I saw him. I didn't confront her. I decided to wait until she returned, wanting to give her the benefit of doubt. But deep down, a storm brewed inside me. Every late-night message, every "I'll call you later," made me question if I even knew the woman I loved. When she finally came back a week later, she was different. There was a glow on her face, but not the kind that comes from peace or rest. It was the kind that comes from escape. She hugged me lightly, not the way a wife hugs her husband after days apart. I could feel the gap between us, wider than before she left. "How was it?" I asked. She smiled and said, "Refreshing." That word cut deep. Refreshing. As if stepping away from our life together had been a relief. I nodded and pretended it didn't hurt. But my eyes caught something, a bracelet on her wrist I'd never seen before. It wasn't from me. That night, she slept early. I sat alone, scrolling through her tagged photos again, looking for answers. Then I saw it, one picture her friend had forgotten to remove. She was sitting close to that same man, her hand on his shoulder, his on her waist. The caption read, "Best trip ever." My chest felt tight, my breath shallow. I didn't rage. I didn't scream. I quietly printed that photo and placed it in an envelope. The next morning, I made breakfast, just like always. When she came down, I slid the envelope across the table. She froze the moment she opened it. Her face drained of color, her lips trembling. "It's not what it looks like," she said. I looked her in the eyes and replied softly, "Then tell me what it is." She couldn't. Tears welled up, and silence filled the room. That silence told me everything I needed to know. Whatever we had built over the years had already fallen apart somewhere on that trip. 4 days after, she tried to explain, saying she was confused, that she didn't mean to hurt me. But I realized something. People who truly love you don't need breaks to remember that love. They fight for it even when it's hard. She didn't. She ran. I packed my own bags a week later. She cried, asking me not to leave, saying she'd fix it. But trust isn't something you rebuild with promises. It's something that either exists or it doesn't. And with her, it was gone. Months passed. I moved into a small apartment by the lake, started rebuilding my life from scratch. Some nights, I still caught myself thinking about her, about how love could fade so quietly. But then I'd remind myself that losing someone who lies is never a real loss. A year later, she called. She said she missed me, that the man she met wasn't who she thought he was. I listened quietly, then simply said, "That's what breaks are for, to find out what's real." Then I hung up, feeling lighter than I had in years. In the end, her trip taught me more than her words ever did. She went searching for herself, and I found my peace. Sometimes, love doesn't die suddenly, it simply walks away, never to return. And when it does, the best thing you can do is let it go.